This is my chance to tell you a little bit about how we're putting peaceful leadership model into action in organizations and for leaders. So I'm super excited to do this very quick presentation for you to show you a little bit about Peaceful Leaders Academy, which we've recently launched. Share my screen with you. All right. So the beginning of this might be slightly redundant because I presented a little bit of the statistics in the beginning for those of you who weren't here, so I can repeat myself. But Peaceful Leaders Academy was born out of this idea, this model of peaceful leadership, which was born out of the countless sort of conflicts that we have intervened in and seen these trends and themes across organizations, across industries, across sizes of organization, in terms of some of the capacities, the competencies, and the skills that leaders do or do not have. And when they don't have these, it tends to lead to cultures that promote or sort of, I don't want to say encourage, but where conflicts are allowed to emerge and sort of exist for long periods of time. And when these skills are practiced and people feel confident and competent in them, then peace is the sort of natural result. So we really tend to focus on training people in these skills. And we thought, let's put this into a model. Let's put this into an actionable sort of training program that we could teach leaders. And this is where Peaceful Leaders Academy was born into. This is the action-oriented element of our peaceful leadership theory. So our goal here is to increase trust, inclusion, and psychological safety. You heard these, and you will hear these three core pillars throughout all of these different these different experts giving us great presentations. They are themes in creating cultures where peace can emerge. And we've created this program called the Certified Peaceful Leader Program, and also called the Peaceful Teams Program, where we are training leaders through a 6-month program to become certified peaceful leaders, putting these types of skills into action. So just a real quick recap of some of the stats here. So what happens when organizations are in conflict? Lots of costs associated with this. Like if organizations get sued, it's heavy cost. 160,000 has been shown to be sort of the average for company defense and settlement when people are getting sued for employment-related matters. It's 150% of an annual salary to replace a mid-level employee. It's even more to replace high-level executive employees. 49% of workplace conflicts happen as a result of personality clashes. So people aren't getting along. These conflicts are not task-oriented. They are relational conflicts. So we need to figure out how to get people to get along better, how to communicate better. $359 billion is estimated to be lost annually due to employee turnover as well as employee conflict. 85% of employees experience some kind of stressful conflict in the workplace. We all experience conflict, but it doesn't have to be stressful. Unfortunately, a lot of us do experience unhealthy, stressful conflict. And about half of the workforce have, through a Gallup poll, shown to be currently looking to go to another job as a result of not being happy in their current job for reasons of interpersonal conflict or related reasons. So really important to recognize some of the costs associated with having a lot of conflict. This is why it's so important to have more peace-oriented cultures and leadership that have these competencies that can create these types of cultures. Leadership style and effectiveness has a direct impact on employee engagement, on revenue and retention, company innovation, productivity. This has been shown in a wide range of literature. 90% of the conflicts we've been involved with, we've seen at least some indirect or direct way that ineffective leadership is having a negative impact on the culture and leading to some negative outcomes, including interpersonal conflict. Really important that we get people trained so we can be preventative, proactive about creating peaceful, productive cultures. And so this is why we created Peaceful Leadership Model and put it into action through the Academy. So our mission has been to build more peaceful, productive organizations that are fully satisfied team members. This includes knowledge and skill building. This includes coaching and reinforcement. So we're both training and we're coaching. It's really important to do both. just training, just coaching alone sometimes doesn't always have the effect we want. We combine them both to really make a robust, comprehensive program. And we're looking at both top-down and bottom-up approaches. So the top-down approach is, of course, training leadership, which has such a huge impact on creating better cultures. Then the bottom-up approach is trying to train lower-level employees, middle management, et cetera, to have some of the skills that maybe higher level leaders are gaining as well, so that everybody has shared language and shared understanding of some of these best practices. These are some of the core faculty that we've brought on to teach our training courses in Peaceful Leaders Academy, and also provide support coaching. We do 3 group coaching sessions a week in addition to the training program. So just a quick overview of these folks here. Again, this is the Peaceful Leadership Model. I did this earlier in the day. I went over this a little bit, but we're looking at these 5 core competencies: patience, engagement, appreciation, curiosity, empowerment, and how those create, if those are in place in leaders, how those create the core pillars of an organization that are important for peace-oriented, productive organizations: psychological safety, inclusion, and trust among employees. So those are the 3 core pillars that are really important. And these are the 5 competencies that we try to instill through our training academy. I like this just putting this into a little graph here so you could see a little flow chart almost, so you could see some of the results. So we're looking at how to fulfill basic psychological needs. I mentioned this earlier in my introduction. Basic psychological needs: trust, safety, and inclusion fulfill the basic psychological needs of the inhabitants of a system, of the employees of an organization. Without them, people are left with distrust, with fear, with resentment. And what does that do to relationships? Poor relationships, it creates hypervigilance, hypersensitivity, always looking for problems, always feeling like people are being challenged or being hostile towards me. People may be avoiding confrontation, so either being very confrontational or avoiding it. If we imbue an organization with these psychological pillars, these social psychological pillars called trust, inclusion, and safety, we're getting more robust relationships. We're getting better communication, more respectful interactions, more collaboration among people. And that inevitably will lead to more innovation, higher engagement, higher retention, and increased revenue. If we're not doing that, poor relationships, hypervigilance, hypersensitivity, these things lead to stagnation. They lead to low creativity, a lot of turnover, lower revenues, worse customer service, a whole range of sort of negative outcomes from having poor relationships. So important to have good interpersonal relationships at work, especially coming from leadership, so leadership can model those types of relationships. So how do we put this into action? How do we put this theory of peaceful leadership into action? Well, in our Peaceful Leaders Academy, we have a self-paced training program that develops people into peaceful leaders. So it's a very robust, it takes about, we do it for about 6 months. So it can take, people can do it in 2 months or 3 months if they want to go real fast, but we tend to say it's about 6 months of training, a couple hours a week of training material. They do, they focus on the 5 core competencies that are most needed to build and maintain peace, that are really important to establish those 3 core pillars. We have pre and post assessment. So we're trying to measure how leaders or employees that are taking this are growing throughout the program. So how competent are they when they start? How competent are they when they finish? How confident do they feel in some of these competencies? And also we're looking at behaviors and outcomes. So we're measuring what sort of behaviors they're enacting before and after, and also what kind of relationships do they have? How do they perceive the relationships? And is that improving throughout the program as well? So we're trying to look at as much data as possible to really prove that this model and this action-oriented program really works to increase peace and productivity in organizations. Again, we take this kind of three-pronged approach. Number one is the training aspect. We really want people to walk away with some practical skills, and we do these in very short bursts of training content. We also have 3 group coaching sessions a week. People that are in the Peaceful Leaders Academy, they get unlimited access to these. They can come to 3 a week, they can come to 1 a week, but they are required, some amount is required. You have to do 12 coaching sessions in total to get the certification and to move through the modules. So coaching reinforcement is really important. And then, of course, we have tons of resources that we give to leaders too that they can take a look at, they can engage with, and they can do to sort of measure and improve their own behaviors. A lot of self-reflective exercises, a lot of exercises related to how they implement the skills and reporting back to us and that sort of thing. So we're really trying to get people to change behavior and improve communication and relationships in their workplace. This is a quick overview of the learner dashboard. So people go into this learning management system and they have all their courses laid out for them. They also have a calendar that they have access to schedule in their group coaching sessions. And then again, they have unlimited access to these while they're in the program. And the Certified Peaceful Leadership Program. So in terms of the Peaceful Leaders Academy, we have this bottom up and this top down. So the top down is the Certified Peaceful Leaders Program. And this is a leadership development training program that teaches leaders critical skills and competencies to really foster those kinds of peaceful cultures in the workplace. These are the core skills that we go over. So within each competency, you'll see particular skills: emotional intelligence, responding to difficult feedback, coaching employees, aligning employees with the organizational mission, having constructive employee reviews, having a strength-based mindset and being able to give feedback from a strength-based perspective, addressing difficult behaviors, having those kind of challenging conversations, mediating employee conflict. We get into that more deeply, inclusive decision-making, and then promoting accountability in a peace-oriented manner. So these are the core skills that people learn, they get tested on, and they get reinforced through coaching. In order to be certified, if they're interested in getting certified as a peaceful leader, they complete these 8 training modules. They have to do a minimum of 12 coaching sessions, and then they can engage with whatever bonus materials that we put out there, and we consistently put out new material. People that are engaged in the Peaceful Leaders Academy, in the Certified Peaceful Leaders Program, they get lifetime access to these training modules. They have unlimited group coaching for the 6 months. They have these learning checks and implementation exercises. So it's like really trying to get them to enact this stuff, not just learn it, but enact it and report about how they enact it. They have access to expert-led panels and webinars, handouts, videos. We have pre and post self-assessments, analytics and reporting, and they have a certification exam. And then there's additional offerings that they can do. They can do complex 360 assessments, behavior change and organizational culture assessments we can add on, different types of training modules. We do custom training modules. And they get discounted private coaching, custom training from Pollack Peacebuilding, our parent organization. So that's the Certified Peaceful Leader Program. Leaders at the end should understand the psychological and practical components of building a peaceful, productive workplace. They should feel confident in navigating difficult workplace challenges and conflicts, and they should have an action plan for building and maintaining employee trust and psychological safety. So we really want people to walk away feeling like not only did they learn something, but they're able to practically implement it and create more peace-oriented cultures at the end of this thing. That's really important to us. And we're going to coach and reinforce that and really support people in as much as we can throughout that. We do offer SHRM credits, so they get 32 credits when they complete the certification, if that's important, especially for HR professionals. And then we look at the bottom-up approach for the staff, and this is called our Peaceful Teams program. So the Peaceful Teams program is really where we try to boil it down as much as possible, so it's not quite as comprehensive or robust. It's, again, self-paced, but it does teach staff some of the critical skills that we think really help foster a peaceful culture and that they'll need, so that they can meet the leaders in the middle and actually have a shared language and understand some of these concepts so they can all enact it. So like you could see that we only teach one core skill, and these are more robust workshops for each core competency has one core skill: self-care and emotional self-management. We get into aligning one's personal mission with the team to really help motivation and engagement, addressing difficult behaviors and having difficult conversations so they can, if they have to have a difficult conversation with a coworker or a supervisor, they have the skills and the confidence to do that. Receiving hard-to-hear feedback. How do they receive feedback from coworkers or supervisors that in a way that they're not going to necessarily get defensive, and really try to pick out the gems from those things and learn from them. And if it is a problem, that they can respond in a way that's more effective and not be defensive or reactive. And then finally, managing up. So creating expectations and accountability with supervisors, trying to figure out are we really clear on what's expected of me? Are we really clear on what accountability looks like? And does it go both ways? So these are some of the core competencies, really important skills that are important for a whole team to have, especially when leaders are learning these skills at the same time. Again, they have access to these 6 core training modules. They have a weekly group coaching session that they have access to. There's no certification, so they don't have to come, but they have access to that. So when they're having challenges and they can come into group coaching, and we have a maximum of 8 participants per coaching session, they can get some feedback and from a professional conflict management coach. Learning checks and implementation exercises, very similar to the leadership, the Certified Peaceful Leader program. Again, expert-led panels and webinars. They have pre and post assessments. And we start putting out, after their first 6 months, we start giving them a new training module every month so that they, not just these 6, but they start learning more and more about how to create peace-oriented cultures. That is the end of it. I know I think I went real fast, but I wanted to get through it. So good, I have some time. Are there any questions that I can answer on this program? Let's go basic for a moment and define peace. What is peace? Good question. So some people would say peace is the absence of conflict, but I don't think so. To me, peace comes when people feel their basic needs are met. That's basic physical needs, but in an organization, especially, we're looking at psychological needs. So when people's basic psychological needs are met, that's when they start to feel at peace. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not feeling emotional. So you could feel sad, but also be at peace with feeling sad. I'm at peace with it. I accept my feelings, my emotions. I'm able to be aware of them and express them if I need to in an appropriate way. I can be at peace with feeling afraid. I can be at peace with feeling angry. I can be at peace with all kinds of emotions. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I'm always happy. It doesn't mean I'm always joyful. I can be at peace with all kinds of situations. But really, it's about having those psychological needs met. I feel fulfilled. I feel stimulated. I feel engaged, that I'm growing in some way. I feel secure or safe. I feel that I'm giving the level of autonomy that's important to me and that I believe that I should have. And in life, that I feel autonomous. In other words, I can make decisions for myself. I feel included. I feel trusted, and then I can trust others. Basic needs that I need to be fulfilled. That's really, to me, that's the definition of peace.